Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to Avenger Pretenders. The geek and the redneck are going to bring you their thoughts and feelings about this week. So this week, we are reviewing the final episode 6 of Miss Marvel. So grab your adult beverages or whatever it is you want to drink and a snack. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the cluster that you are about to see. Sully, it's all yours.
Oh, why, thank you, sir. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Avenger Pretenders. I'm Sully. That was JT doing our wonderful intro on the fly, as we always like to do it, because, well, that's pretty much how I envision it, because I'm too lazy to make an actual intro at the moment, because I'm fixing everything else. But that's besides the point. It's besides the point. Today we're talking about episode 6 of Ms. Marvel, the season finale.
Yes.
And I'm just going to say right off the bat, it was a lot better than all the other episodes combined. and that's not to say that the other episodes were bad.
Right.
Because they weren't. They weren't bad. Was it hard to get into at times? Sure, probably. But I can tell you that this one was pretty decent. It was pretty decent, you know? And we usually talk a lot before the show goes live. And JT was already talking to me about stuff. I'm like, yeah, well, we don't really have time because JT was running a little late, and that's okay. Life happens. But it was one of those things where he's like, dude, they finally said something. And I said, yes. Finally.
Yes.
Finally. What that'll be, I don't know. I don't even know if they're going to do anything else. It's so hard to tell.
They have to. I mean, the way that they ended this thing.
Yeah.
The way that they freaking ended Miss Marvel. And they ended with a mid-credit scene.
Which we'll get into.
That made me go, what the fuck? That made Kay go, huh?
So, just to touch up on that, we'll get into that, but
yes,
at the same time, we also have to understand that we have a movie that's going to be coming out too. So let's just get right down into the nitty gritty of it, and let's get into the breakdown, because from here the episode starts with the explosion of Circle Q, and we saw that at the end of last episode. So we're continuing where we left off, which is awesome. Awesome. We've got Bruno and Cameron pretty much on the run. They're going through the subway, and we also have the DODC chasing after them, which, you know, it's been known to happen a few times here and there in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that somebody's getting chased down.
Call them dicks on Democratic conniptions.
Yeah, well, I could see that too.
It works. It's not a lie.
It matches, you know.
You know, I mean,
but we have a little bit of a situation where Sadie, who is part of the DODC, she is going and telling all her agents, use non-lethal weapons. We want him brought in, so on and so forth. So they're going after Cameron because, one, he escaped a prison. That's number one. And number two, now he's on the run. And in theory, they could technically say that he kidnapped Bruno and is holding him hostage. Is that the case? No, Bruno's actually helping him. So,
I mean, they would spin it that way.
Yeah.
If they needed to. So that way, you know, if they ended up in front of a inquiry board or something like that, they would have that there, but that is in no shape or form the actual truth.
Right. And from there, it gets to the point where Cameron gets, I forget, did he get pushed or did he get punched or something happened to him on that
he got
train.
pushed. He got pushed.
And that
they
caused...
they were running away from the DODC and they ran into a guy. The guy was a dick. He turned around and he shoved Cameron and Bruno backward.
Exactly. And that caused Cameron to have his hard light basically emit from his hands and his pretty much his entire body. And everybody went, whoa, what happened? But at the same time, Kamala is at her house and she's outing herself to her entire family that she is, quote, Nightlight, even though she hates that name.
I hate that name. That name is disgusting to me.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
It was interesting to say the least, you know? And we get to the point where she's telling her entire family, and they already knew because her mother went and told them ahead of time, which makes sense for her mother to do. It really does.
Right.
No surprise there. And that's when Kamala gets a phone call from Nakia. I can't say Nakia because it's not Nakia. It's Nakia. I thought it was Nakia the entire episode run. Apparently I was wrong.
Kind of like Bruno was Brian.
Yeah, Bruno was Brian. But see, at least I had the letters right. Okay? At least I had the letters right. But she calls up saying that Circle Q exploded. Bruno can't be found. They're on the run. They're pretty much meeting up and doing what they need to. And Kamala goes upstairs to get on the cosplay suit that she made for Avenger Con. And her mother comes in and gives her a brand new suit. And it's the suit that is pretty much almost comic accurate.
Yeah, and I love... We've been talking this whole time about, how they're referring back to earlier episodes and those kind of things. And I love the look on Kamala's face.
Oh,
when her mom comes in with that box.
It was like
because know what's running through her mind. Oh my God, it's another Incredible Hulk. Style costume. So that's what's going through her head. She opens it up and sees.
I was thinking the same thing at first.
Yep. That was the only thing that was going through her head was, oh shit.
Not again. But the cool thing about that was she was very accepting of it. Very accepting of it because it looked amazing.
Yeah.
And I love that they made reference to the necklace that broke when they were in Pakistan. And she used that as an S on the outfit. So her mother made her new outfit, which, again, very comic accurate. Very comic accurate.
I don't know if you said it or not, but it's also symbolic of her necklace.
Yes, I said that.
Did you say that? Okay.
Yes.
I didn't catch that part. But I think that was very cool that they did that. So I have to ask you, what is the significance of that necklace? I meant to ask you this last week and I forgot to, but what is the significance of that necklace, that was, or was it just something that she had?
Yeah, that was just her necklace that her mother gave her when she was younger, and it broke. Okay. It was broken, and it was made that S formation. So, that kind of ties back to the family roots because of the necklace.
Gotcha.
So now that the necklace is broken, instead, now she's got it on her outfit, so that way it's with her at all times and it's part of her family tradition. The other thing is, at the same exact point, she gets, she puts her uniform on, and all of a sudden people are staring up at the sky, and they're seeing her move through the sky as, quote, Nightlight, even though, again, does not like that name. But that's what people were calling her because nobody knows what to call her. Nobody knows what to call her. So right now, yes, she's Nightlight. But they get to the point where Corelli, Cameron, and Bahadir are in the mosque now, and they're basically helping Bruno and Cameron hide from the DODC, who are now about to storm the mosque because they were tracking him with drones. They know he's there, or at least they think they know he's there. And I thought this was great because when they first walk in, you see the sheik and all the other men that are in the mosque, and they all just take their IDs out.
Yeah,
ready
just,
to go.
it's not like we haven't been through this before, you know.
Yeah.
Federal agents walk in, they all want to see the ID.
We want to see all your IDs, and then they're
They-
just there and doing what they need
They
to.
whip them things out faster than a freaking
Oh,
cowboy with a
great.
6-shooter and a duel. You
It
know,
was great. And of course, Diva threatens to search the entire mosque, and he's like, "Well, there's nobody here. Aside from us, there's nobody here. We're not hiding everybody." And they start going through door by door, breaking things down, messing things up, doing what they need to do, searching the place because they need to find Bruno and Cameron. And we get to the point where this is great. Hi, Carol. Want to say hi to Carol, who just came in our chat. Hello. Nakia flat out tells Deaver that she can't go in this specific door. You can't do it.
holy.
It's a holy room. You can't go in there. There's somebody praying, doing whatever. And they break the door.
First it was holy, then it was a supply closet.
Yeah. And they do it anyway, and there's one of their friends sitting in there on a laptop listening to music, and he goes, "Did you hear? I'm her girlfriend. I'm her boyfriend."
Do you have a body cam? I would love to have that footage.
I would love to have that.
I love
footage.
that line.
So, obviously he's like, "So when are you gonna call me back? I'm her boyfriend. Did you know that? I'm her boyfriend." Well,
I said it out loud.
after they leave that section of the hallway and they're back in the main room, searching all the other rooms in another hallway, the Sheik pulls out Cameron and Bruno from a hiding spot behind a locker, which was really cool. I thought that was awesome. Because
here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
I have one issue with that.
What's your issue?
Okay, they're going door to door. They're searching every crack and crevice and that they can get to,
Mm-hmm.
and they miss the big door indentation behind the frickin' cabinet.
Right.
If you look, you can see the entryway.
Yeah.
That's behind the cabinet that they slide off to the side to bring them out.
Yeah.
Are they blind? But we've made that comment many times. I mean, there was the big fight with the Family Five.
Yes.
There, and they didn't hear Kamala sneaking out the frickin' side door.
Right. And you're like, wait a second, hold it.
Unless you're like blatantly standing in front of them, you don't have to worry about the DODC finding.
Yeah, no.
You're not that observant.
Especially if they just, walk right by,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah, I understand the whole point of the DODC. And for those that don't remember, the DODC was brought in during Spider-Man Homecoming.
And it's the Department of Damage Control.
Yes. They're not really secret agents. They're not FBI. They're not police. Stark started it to help clean up New York after the attack on New York. That's what that is. So I don't understand why they're thinking that they're police officers when they're not.
Right. They're just a bunch of power-hungry actors.
Yeah.
Is all they are.
That's my
they're
opinion.
they're cop FBI wannabes.
They're not S.H.I.E.L.D., but I think they want to be.
Or Red Skull,
I mean, you could technically say they work for the government,
I think they are a government-controlled agency,
They are, and I mean,
but they don't wield any real power.
even if you think about it, they're probably like a subsidiary of Shield.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's
You
been a
mean
while since
subsidiary?
I've read any of the comics with the DODC, but for me, I'm pretty sure that they were at one point in time part of Shield, and then they're still their own entity, I guess.
Mhm.
So I mean, I guess you could potentially say that, yeah, they could be the feds. You
Right.
know, maybe they are like still Shield agents or something. But
Mhm.
but even with then, you had Civil War, you had the outing of Hydra. So who knows? Who knows? I mean, to me, I don't know. So something's not right with the DODC. Originally, it was cleanup, and now it's hey, we're going to arrest all the superpowered beings in the world because we can.
Yeah.
They
had to figure out something to do after they were done cleaning up New York,
Yeah.
something to justify their continued existence and governmental, financial subsidiaries to stay in existence.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
subsidy, not subsidy.
And to be honest, they still screw things up.
Oh yeah. Well, just like any other government agency, they're going to.
Yeah. So
did I say that?
What? Shh. So from there, obviously the Cameron and Bruno are running through an alley. They're on the run again, and they meet up with Kamala. She finds them. They do what they need to do. They hug, they kiss, they do whatever, and Cameron accidentally lets out an energy wave because he's in pain.
That was wild.
It kind of reminded me of think about the original X-Men comics and the cartoon where Cyclops developed his powers. Like, his powers just came to fruition through his eyes. Now, mind you, he's got laser beam eyes. When his powers kindly came out, it was raging pain that he had, like his eyes were burning, and they shot out of his eyes because he can't control that. It was kind of like that.
So is it?
So the energy was causing Cameron pain.
Mm-hmm.
Because
it's the energy from the portal that when his mother whispered his name,
and transferred
shot into him.
Yeah, and transferred all the energy to him.
That's inside of him, and like he said, he feels like he's being torn apart inside.
Yes. And
so is it those two entities kind of fighting each other inside his body? Is that what's going on, or am I?
Because he can't control it. So because he never had that power before, so he can't control it to the point where it's hurting him. It's hurting him on the inside, and it's burning. But that's when he starts. Kamala kind of starts training him at the same time to harness the power and to don't let it out. And they get to the point where they go, the safest place is the school. Let's get to the school. Nobody's going to be there. Wait, why are you going to break into a school now? Because nobody's there. It's the weekend.
Nobody's there. It's actually
it makes perfect sense. So from there, DODC is still tracking them. And in the school, they basically have the school surrounded.
Mm-hmm.
Completely surrounded. And Zoe Zimmerman, the redhead, of all people, shows up because she was at the school, and she said, "Just so you know, they tried questioning me to get you, turn you in," and they all just turn and look at her like, "What are you doing here?" And the greatest answer she had was, "The theater has better lighting for my TikTok videos."
This is where I make it's got good lighting. This is where I make my TikTok videos.
It's got good lighting. It's where I do my TikTok videos. All right, then. That makes sense.
Right.
So DODC tries to trick her, and she denies them, and she wants to help them. Mostly because Kamala saved her. She did. She saved her in the first episode. She used her powers to save her. And she kind of knew, but she didn't want to actually say that it was Kamala because, cool kids. Now it's
Well,
a
and that
different
actually
story.
gets answered here in just a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So at the same time, Deaver is outside. They're surrounding the building. They're surrounding all the exits. All the wow. Ooh.
The
Yeah.
whole building.
Yeah, the whole building, all the entrances and the ramps and the windows and the roof. They're doing it all, okay? They're doing it all. And Cleary calls, and that's her partner / boss, and says to her, back off now.
You're doing this on live TV.
You're
In
on
front of a
live television. You're going to give us bad press. Back off now. That's an order.
As soon as he said that, and I saw the look on her face,
I knew she was going to do something.
mm-hmm. It's like, oh boy. And what does she do? Bring in all reinforcements.
All available agents to our location. I'm like, oh, you dummy.
I was like, shit. And you got to figure, for just, kind of an idea, to give people kind of an idea, there was probably at least what I would call a good size company in the Army, which is going to be between 125, 150.
Yeah.
Of these agents that ended up being there, as well as all the New York City cops that were on site.
Yeah. And there were
probably
a,
a good 200 law enforcement people there.
There were a lot of cops, and even with that, we'll get into that in a little bit here. But the cops were like, "What are you doing in our jurisdiction? You shouldn't be here." That type of thing, which is what made it worse for the DODC, because now you've got news outlets, you got people showing up, and that was part of a plan that Kamala came up with her brother and her friends in the school. And that was a very thought out, well played plan, I must say. I don't know how they fit all those plans on that one chalkboard, but they did.
and how she drew it so neatly.
Yes. Drew it so neatly and very artistically. It was wonderful. I'm trying to find a picture of the actual the board. I can't. The picture alone is worth it.
Yes.
I'm trying to find the actual image of them writing on the board, but it was very reminiscent of the comic book. Whenever she had a plan, that's what she would do. She would draw it out. And the cool thing was, they knew the high school better than anybody, and they knew that the agents were eventually going to break in, and they did.
Right.
And once they did, they set up a distraction in the main hallway that they broke into, and they thought it was a bomb.
Right. That was funny.
It was just a speaker.
Yeah, and then the glitter ball comes down.
All it is yeah, you had the disco ball and the speaker playing music.
I sent you a picture, sir.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Did you find it? You did find it. Look at that.
It's not the whole thing, but it's close.
That's okay. That's okay. I gotta close that out, and that way I can show everybody the picture. Cause
looky at me.
Yeah.
And we can compare that, if we want to this other image that I'm about to send you.
Oh.
Where they were doing the plan for getting to uh, Comic-Con, whatever they called it
Oh yeah.
in the first episode.
Yeah, I'm trying.
MarvelCon, or I can't
Avenger
think of the
Con.
name of it. AvengerCon. There you go.
Avenger Con. Yeah.
If you want to, just an extra one for you.
So there's the picture we were just talking about with Kamala doing the plan on her freaking board. In colored chalk, no less.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In colored chalk, no less. And it worked. It worked in the favor. I thought it was a very cool element to the story itself.
Right.
Mostly because you kind of had to kill a little bit of time to show how they were going to overcome this situation that they were in.
Well, and to give time for all the other agents to get there and get in position and all that good crap.
Yeah, and even with that, it was one of those things where you're like, okay, but at the same time, and I know you guys are kind of seeing split pictures here because I'm trying to do multiple things at once, and it happens. The thing with that is it was very reminiscent of the first episode with the picture, the drawing, so to speak, on the chalkboard,
right?
Which apparently is Kamala's chalkboard. Who knew? Who knew? So there it is. There's Kamala's chalkboard from the beginning, and you can see the circle. You got cool guy, which is referencing Cameron, right?
Right.
So good callback to the previous episode. Very good callback to that.
Yes.
From there, we see a wonderful situation going on. As that's happening, the agents are breaking in. Zimmer goes live on TikTok to let everybody know what's happening, and all of a sudden that's drawing a crowd to the school because now you've got all the parents involved,
right,
as well as the entire neighborhood, the mosque, you name it, they're all heading down to be the quote distraction for the DODC. And as that's happening, they're going through and they're grabbing every single fire extinguisher that they can think of in that building because they need it for their plan for smoke screens. And it works. Now, I will say this. I'm impressed that they came up with this plan and were outsmarting federal agents.
Right.
Outsmarting federal agents.
Well, and here's the thing that makes it work, in my opinion, with the military background and planning attacks and all this kind of thing.
Yep.
The thing that makes this work, and the thing that she clarifies to everybody, is we are not trying to beat, or we are not trying to defeat the DODC. We are trying to delay them. It's purely a delay tactic.
Yep.
To try to get Cameron out of there and to the harbor by midnight.
So they can get him on a boat and send him back to Pakistan.
Exactly.
Now, at the same time, during this plan, and what a plan it is, Kamala and Bruno are in the chemistry lab, and they made up a foam bomb, so to speak, or a foam trap. You mix the two chemicals together, and it creates the foam, and it goes everywhere. Only they multiplied it. They multiplied it to the point that it basically covered the entire classroom. And the DODC agents tripped the tripwire that mixed the chemicals, and boom! These guys had no idea what hit them.
Do you know what that's called?
I can't remember the name of it.
Elephant toothpaste.
Ah, yes. Elephant toothpaste.
If you folks don't know what we're talking about, if you've not seen this stuff.
Oh, look it up online.
After the show, do a search for elephant toothpaste.
Some of the videos.
Some of the videos.
Some of the videos are amazing with what they do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are ones that have like broken world records with it, and it's
Yep.
crazy. Absolutely crazy.
It is.
From there, they're on the run still. They're going through the building, and Kamala and Cameron get to a point where they are hiding in the gym, and they are in their gym coach's office, so to speak. So you had the gym, and then you have the office. So they were hiding behind a desk, and they were having a moment.
Yes.
They were having a romantic interest moment. Holding hands, looking at each other's eyes, about to go in for the kiss, and Bruno shows up.
Of course.
Bruno shows up, so good for Bruno. Good for Bruno. And, obviously we know Bruno likes Kamala. We know this. And clearly she likes Cameron, and they had a moment. But there was that sign of mutual respect between Bruno and Cameron, because he knew. He knew he had to get him out of there, and he knew it wasn't going to, amount to anything right now. And they became friends. They were friends in this moment. Like, no, get out of here. I got this. And sure enough,
he thanks him. Actually calls him Bruno.
Yep. Thanks him. And they get out. And as they're leaving, Bruno is arrested. And Zoe, Kamala's brother, and there was a third one. I forget who it was. They are starting to throw softballs at the agents using the softball
Cameron.
machines.
Wait, was it Cameron?
Which one?
I'm sure it was either Cam. I want to say it was Cameron.
No.
The three shooting the softballs,
No,
right? There was
it was,
Zoe. There was
Nakia.
Kamala's brother.
It was Nakia, the other friend.
And Nakia, that's right.
Yep, Nakia. So the three of them are shooting softballs using the softball pitching machines, and they finally get caught as well.
From behind. Yeah, we're winning.
From behind. Yeah, we're winning. And that's when they get boom. At that time, after they get apprehended and they're arrested, they're all being brought out of the building. And we get to the point where they're about to get out, and Cameron asks what happened to his mother. And all hell breaks loose. We thought it was bad when the agents were all over the place, but no. Cameron let out a fit of rage, and woo, yikes.
That was not pretty.
He's gunning for blood now. And
understandably.
Oh yeah, completely understandable. And Kamala's trying to tell him, but his rage is it's off the charts, that now he's running through the hallways trying to kill the agents. So now Kamala is actually saving the agents from Cameron. And it's rough on him. It's rough.
Understandably.
So now the two of them are fighting as they're trying to get out of the building, and he looks at her and just does this, and nope, I gotta go. Charges up his fist and starts shooting at everybody. And Kamala blocks all the bullets that are getting fired at Cameron. Wonderful shield, but you can see that the shield is starting to break because of the amount of bullets that she was catching. And it gets to the point where even Deaver is setting it up to be worse, so to speak. And This is a callback to the Incredible Hulk. We're going way back now, because now she's got a Jeep with a sonic gun on it, which is the same sonic gun that was used in the Incredible Hulk movie on campus to attack the Hulk, which clearly didn't work.
Right.
Didn't work then. didn't really work now. But the cool thing here.
Did knock her over a car.
Oh yeah, it sends them flying. It does. It sends them flying, and as things are happening, this was the cool thing. Kamala gets up, she sees Cameron, and she says her catchphrase from the comics, finally, which is "Embiggen." Every time.
Is that what she said?
Every time she says that, that's when, she's either getting bigger, she's getting taller, her body is stretching, she's using her powers, and the light basically forms completely around her. Her legs, her arms.
I never really caught what she said.
Yeah, it is her catchphrase. So it was cool that they finally put that in there. And you kind of need Embiggen in there because that is her comic book catchphrase. That's what she says. That's what it basically, it's a full power-up mode for her. And we get to the part where now she's got bigger fists, she's got bigger hands, her feet are bigger, her legs are bigger, she's just bigger with the powers.
To give folks an idea of what we're seeing at this point, if you didn't see it, if you watched Avatar, it's like one of the machines that they used where the person sat inside. It was human shaped and everything. It had the arms and legs, and they controlled it from the inside. It was kind of like that. That'd be the only thing that I could really use to describe it. Either that or Aliens when she was in the industrial thingy fighting the alien.
Oh yeah, the industrial suit. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, close to it.
It's the only thing I could think of to really describe it.
I would say close to it. Clearly, we've got the picture up right now. You can see it right in the corner of your screen there. You can see that the light is completely around her arms, her legs, everything. It's there. And that was one of the things that, I don't want to say we were weary on or waiting on, but it is one of those things where you kind of need to see it in order to know exactly what we're talking about. Now,
but
again,
the thing is it doesn't cover her head.
It actually does.
In
the following cuts of the camera angles, you can actually see the light all the way around her head too.
Oh, okay.
In this instance, no, because she's taking that Jeep that had the sonic gun on it, and she's about to throw it. Get rid of it, just damage it, move it off. She's doing what she needs to do.
She crushed it with her fist.
Yep.
And then she jumps and she lands in front of it. And the two guys there go, oh!
Yeah. Oh!
She's like, you guys okay?
And they run.
Like, yes.
And they run. You guys all right? You guys okay?
It was actually Cameron that causes the vehicle to go flying towards the crowd here in just a few minutes.
Yeah, and that was another thing that was interesting because she was still trying to save Cameron, but also fight Cameron and do whatever she needed to do. This is where things get even more interesting because when he does eventually flip that car, now it's hurtling toward all the onlookers.
Right, and the reason that he did it was the bitch that was running the DODC guys out there,
Deaver,
picked up her gun and was aiming it at him.
Yes.
So to protect himself, he shoves the Humvee at her. Mm-hmm. She dives out of the way, but it hits another vehicle and goes flying
in the air, and Kamala catches it, which is great.
And I love the hand positioning. When they pan back from the crowd and they show her hand positioning on the Humvee.
Yeah.
As she catches it. The hand positioning is really important if you think about it. Because, when you catch something, you're usually like, your hands are like this, or you catch it like this, or whatever. Yep. When she caught it, she had one hand on the front of the Humvee, which was heading towards the people, and then her other hand on the side. So it was, if you think about it, it's almost how an NFL receiver will
Catches a
dive
football.
for a
Yep.
football, front and side, to be able to pull it in, and that's how she caught that. I thought that detail, I thought that attention to detail for that was
Yeah.
very unique. It was very
Eh,
unique because I've seen some, in movies and stuff, people catch things, and I'm like, no.
the physics behind it didn't work.
Exactly,
In this
exactly.
case, the physics behind it did work.
Worked
Okay.
perfectly.
So as she catches it, we get to the point where Cameron can't contain his power anymore, and he sets off just a wave of energy.
He
And
loses it.
Kamala's pushing through the energy to get to him. And at first, she thinks to herself that he's too powerful. But then she starts directing her power more and more, and she forms an energy bubble around the two.
An
And
igloo.
yeah, exactly. Just like an igloo. And you can see it's cracking here and there because of what he's doing with his powers. But at the same time, you can see the energies around her, like fully around her head. Like it's protecting her. And he gets to the point where he's trying to reason with her and saying that nobody's going to accept me. I'm not normal. And she comes up with the answer of, there is no normal. I'm not normal. You're not normal. Who cares? You know? It does. It gets to that point. Who cares? Nobody is normal. You know? And
I like what she said after that, that it's life is going to be what we make it,
yeah.
the decisions that we make, how we're going to live.
Yep.
And
And
I thought, especially in this day and age, it hasn't really been political too much throughout this whole thing. But when she said that, it was a very, very um, settling statement that she was making to him. But at the same time, it feels like, right there, they tried to send a little message out to people.
yeah, and it was a very positive message.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
positive.
For once.
And at that same time, she's telling him that his mother saved the world to protect him, which is why he's got the powers and everything now. And afterward, she says, I'm going to get you to the harbor. And she starts smashing the ground. Mostly to
The
get
harbor,
him.
I'll distract them as long as I can.
Yeah, I'll distract him as long as I can. Get out of here. So,
Yeah.
even for him, he's not a bad guy. He wasn't. He was upset. He was hurt. He was hurt. Actually, hurt wasn't even the word. He lost his mother.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his situation. Okay, he's. I'm gonna say it this way. It's it's the only way I can really think of saying is, he was suddenly infected with a power that he doesn't understand.
Right.
That is tearing him apart inside. He has, 100-something cops and cop representative type people coming after him and trying to kill him. He just found out that his mother's dead.
Yep.
And so he's got all these things running through his head. So not being able to control himself and his powers is totally understandable.
Absolutely.
Him being in the situation that he is, his reactions to me were consistent and totally understandable.
Very, especially for a teenager.
And that's the thing is, Kamala was helping to get him back to an even keel where he could concentrate, he could think, he could control himself.
Absolutely.
And everything, and so that was a huge, that whole interaction there within the igloo was huge.
Yeah.
And explain to him, look, what happens from here is up to you. you make the decisions of how your life is going to go after this. And I think back to when they were talking. He says the people that you're talking about, they're the red daggers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You understand that they are just as dangerous to me as the DODC is.
Yes.
And the one thing that she didn't do is she didn't look at him and go, "No, it'll be okay. They understand what's going on." She didn't do any of that bullshit.
Nope. She was very honest with him.
She just kind of looked at him and said, "It's the best I can do." With the look that she gave him.
Yeah.
And then they went on their way.
Mm-hmm.
So for her age,
she's grown up a lot since the first episode.
She is a very, very extremely intelligent young lady, but I think she gets that from her nana.
Oh, absolutely.
Over in Pakistan.
Hands down. So we get to the point where Cameron's on the run to the harbor, and now she breaks the sphere and is starting to escape, and the people, including New Jersey police,
that I love that,
form a barricade between the DODC and Kamala so she can escape.
Yep.
And Deaver is like, "I'll shoot you all."
Right.
You're interfering with the feds now. And she gets a call from Cleary, who's very angry, and says,
"You're fired.
Get back here now so we can fix your mess." He was so pissed. It was great. I'm like, oh boy. From there, we see a montage of TikTok reaction videos, because people were recording it. People were recording what was happening. They were recording the fights. and wait, which one?
I said to include the boyfriend.
Yes, to include the boyfriend.
You announced to the world.
and Kamala's watching all of them. She's watching all the reactions, and you can just see how happy she was, because she made a difference. She made a difference in somebody's life and saved them and got them to safety. And as she's staring at the mirror, she's looking at her new costume. She gets onto her roof, and her dad comes out to find her. And he says, "Well, so what's your superhero name gonna be?"
I'm working on that.
And yeah, but that was a great response of, I'm working on it. I really don't know. And they have this father-daughter conversation of what her name means in their language, and Kamala means Marvel.
Yeah, that was a very cool, but a very important conversation between father and daughter.
Absolutely.
And again, I refer back to, she's what, 15 years old, 14, 15 years old?
16.
And for a 16-year-old kid to have the things that have happened to her.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And to still keep the frame of mind that she has, to where she can look at her dad and say, "Yeah, I'm a big, superhero now. But I still don't know what I want my name to be."
Yep.
And then to listen to the conversation that she had with her dad, it just amazes me how young but how mature.
Yes.
She comes across as.
Absolutely.
It's amazing, and some really, really good work.
Yeah,
by
absolutely.
The writers.
And the fact that she was so surprised that her first name means the same thing as her idol superhero, Captain Marvel.
Carol Danvers.
That even her father said, "You were always my little Ms. Marvel." Well, Miss Marvel. And Kamala goes, "How about Ms. Ms. Marvel?" Because, she's older now. She's not a miss anymore. And while they're talking about this, you can see Cameron's meeting with Kareem in Pakistan. And then we go further and we see Kamala sitting on a light post staring out into the city and just a big grin on her face, like,
A great nod to Spider-Man
oh yeah, absolutely.
on that. A great nod to Spider-Man on that. Because,
Absolutely.
you see him all the time sitting on top of a building looking out, And I saw that and I just went, nice.
And then it cuts to black. Cuts to black very quickly. And then 1 week later shows up. We see text 1 week later. Bruno and Nakia are in Cameron's car that he had left. So Bruno's been using it because he didn't want to be rude.
He left it to me.
He left it to me. Yeah, why not?
I didn't.
So they're driving around, and obviously, they meet up with Kamala, and she wants to drive the car. So they drive. Before they drive off, Bruno tells Kamala that they did. Well, he ran her genetics, and we know he's smart because he's going to Caltech.
Right.
We know he's smart. We know he ran something because he was even questioning it in the earlier episodes that he said there was something different in her body and it was like a mutation, but he couldn't put his finger on it. And
as soon as I heard that, I'm like, well, so he's happy.
But that's the thing. And there's a reason for both of those. One, they're actually using mutation.
Mm-hmm.
Disney owns the X-Men again, so they can actually use the word mutation instead of magical.
Right.
Like in Age of Ultron. Actually, not even Age of Ultron. Civil War, I think it was. No, not Civil War. Falcon and Winter Soldier. No, one of those. One of the Captain America movies. Where they actually showed Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Miracles is what they used. Miracles. So now they can use mutations, which now also links us to the Inhumans because of the Inhumans. She is an Inhuman. So that was cool that they finally led into that. Yes, she's still wearing the bangle, obviously. She still has her powers, clearly. And she says, well, that's just another label. And they drive off. Drive off into the sunset. Turn around the corner, and that's that. And we cut back to Kamala's room, and she's laying on the bed. And I couldn't hear what her mother said because it was off screen, down the hall, closed door, whatever. And her bangle starts acting up. It starts glowing. And as it's glowing, she kind of touches the butterfly that's on the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts acting up, and she kind of, I don't want to say evaporates, but kind of twists.
Blown through the closet door.
Yeah, she goes through the closet door and it breaks. And
I mean, it was like the freaking Superman just punched her in the gut.
Yeah, and she went flying. But you can see, if you slow it down frame by frame, you can see that her body kind of gets twisted and warped as it goes through the door. And then Carol Danvers, Brie Larson, actually walks out of the door as Captain Marvel, new hairdo, and she picks up the poster from the door that was broken, and she looks around the room, and she goes, oh, shit, and runs off.
Yeah. She's like...
So you can see that they kind of switched places, and from there... it goes to black and it says Ms. Marvel will return in The Marvels. We knew it was coming. We know the sequel is coming, and it's going to star Brie Larson. It's going to star the girl who played Kamala, and it also stars the girl from WandaVision that got her powers in WandaVision. All three characters are Captain Marvel characters, which is why the next film is The Marvels. So, continuation to be continued which means JT and I are probably going to have to do our first movie breakdown. Because we need to see what happens next.
Well, and I mean, you can't be because you read the comics, you read the comics and all this stuff. Because I messaged you and I'm like, okay, what the fuck just happened?
You did.
I'm lost here. And even Kay, we were both sitting there going,
huh?
what the hell was that?
Like, what?
You know, it's like, I don't know.
Well, I can tell you this. From what I was able to see in this mid-credit scene, is it me or does Brie Larson look like she's a freaking twig right now?
Yeah, she looks skinnier than Groot when he was a baby.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird. She looks smaller now.
Even in her TV commercials.
Yeah, like you can see she's thinning out. Like and not
she's not.
Well, yeah, and
I
that's
don't
to
want to
say,
say she's
like,
not buff, but she's not bulky.
well, but she wasn't like she wasn't fat. We know she wasn't fat.
No.
It just looks like she thinned out.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and it looks weird, and that's not to bash her at all.
No,
It just from looking at her in Endgame, and now I'm like, something's not right here.
yeah, two totally different people.
Something's not right. And don't get me wrong, I know she's been working out because she has to. It's
Right.
part of her contract with Marvel. In order to be Captain Marvel, you have to have like a certain physique, you know?
Right.
But I don't know. It just, she looked weird. Maybe it was the costume, maybe it was the angle. I'm not 100% sure, but I can't put my finger on it as to why she looks like she lost weight. You know?
Yeah. And here's the thing. People can lose weight.
Yes.
And when you look at them, you can tell that they lost weight, but they're healthy. They've lost weight in a healthy way. And there's people that you look at. Al Roker was one of them. When he lost all his weight, he looked sick. He looked sick sickly to me for a long time.
Yep.
And that's the feeling I get when I see her now. She's lost weight, but it looks like she's lost it in a sickly way, not in a good way.
And
so it makes you wonder.
It kind of does. You know, it really does. It makes me wonder sometimes. And I'm also like, I don't know, something's not right. The last time somebody was losing weight in a sickly way, it was Chadwick Boseman.
And we lost
him. So from there, the Marvels doesn't come out until next July, because they're in the process of filming already. So clearly, we got a lot of things happening. Which one?
I said it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yes, it'll be very interesting to see what happens. And from there, we have to rate the episode. And I went first last time, so guess what?
You get to go first again?
Nope. It's all you, my friend.
I would agree with your statement to me when you first asked me if we had watched it yet. And I told you no. And your reply was better than all the rest.
Oh, absolutely.
I will agree with that 100%. The storyline finally all came together. Because there are very small, separate storylines that were going on throughout all of the episodes. But they were going all over the place. There was no general path to which they were following, because you had Kamala's story, you had Cameron's story, you had Bruno's story,
Yep.
you had Nana's story, you had freaking Zoe's story. You had all these different storylines going. Everything finally came together.
Yes.
The delaying action that they used in the school
That was cool.
was awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
I love the way, oh, it's a bomb. Strobe light comes down, music starts playing. I loved it. It was great.
Right.
The fight scene, top notch. Not one of the best ones I've seen, but it was definitely way up there. I would say top 10 at least. The scene with Kamala and Cameron in the igloo and the conversation that they had. This show in one episode has had some of the best conversations I have seen, other than the conversation that Falcon and Captain America had.
Yes.
When Falcon was still, throwing the shield around, trying to get used to it and everything, and they had their big, deep conversation.
Yep.
This had more deep conversations in it in one episode than all of the other movies combined. But every one of them had specific meaning, specific reason that applied directly to what was going on.
Yes.
Which I found very, very cool. Episode-wise, because of all those reasons, and because of the conversation that Kamala and her dad had, I'm giving this a 4 3/4.
4 3/4. Wow.
4
Wow. I'm
Great,
impressed.
Great episode from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Even though after the post-credit scene or mid-credit scene, I was like,
like what?
and that's what made it not a 4.9.
Oh, okay. Well, I will say that you actually beat me for this, because I'm giving it a 4.5. So kudos to you for outscoring.
Same lines though. Same line.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, really, the episode was so much better than the previous 5. And don't get me wrong, like each episode had its perks, but very slow moving.
The build up to episode 6
was good.
Was when you look back at the whole thing, the build up to episode 6, they laid it out and they timed it and everything perfect.
I think my biggest issue, aside from Loki, because Loki was fantastic. My biggest issue with the other series, except for Hawkeye and Loki and Captain America Winter Soldier, is the length of time it's taking to get to some type of action-related event. And I'm not saying every single episode has to have some type of action. It doesn't. But when you're saving the entire episode for the action as the last episode, that's not really the third act.
Right.
Like, and not to compare it to Endgame, but I'm going to. Endgame was 3 hours long. And the reason it was 3 hours long is because you had different things happening in each of the 3 acts. When it comes to any type of teleplay or film or even on Broadway, you have multiple acts. You have the beginning, the middle, and the end. And each one had its own story. The beginning was, oh, okay, we have to deal with the ramifications of what happened with Thanos' snap. The middle was, hey, we got a way to do this. Let's do it. Let's plan it out. Let's do what we need to do and make it work. And then the last hour was the final battle. Literally, hour 1.
Well, didn't seem like it lasted an hour.
No, it didn't, but it was an hour. When from start to finish they destroy the Avenger campus to the end, it's almost an hour.
Yeah. And there's no slow moment in it at all.
No, and it just keeps you going. And don't get me wrong, the television shows are different. I get it. You have to have those episodes, you know? But throw a wrench in there.
Yeah. throw us a bone.
Throw a wrench in there.
If it's just a little itty bitty fight.
Just a little bit.
Throw us a bone, you know. It's just something.
So overall, the episode itself, I'm giving a 4.5. It was great. It was the better of the 6 episodes. The community, the conversations, the dialogue, it was amazing. It was amazing. Overall, I'm giving it 3 3/4 Bengals.
Ooh.
Not bad.
Really?
Not bad.
Really? You surprised me with that.
I know, because, but again, a lot of my ratings have been pretty low.
True.
Yeah, I haven't gone under 3.
You're right.
But
I have.
Yes.
Twice.
Yes, you have. Twice. But in the long run, yeah, I would say 3 3/4, almost a 4. Almost.
What would it have taken to have pushed it up to a 4?
If they made her an actual Inhuman. That's probably my biggest gripe. Yeah, they mentioned it. They talked about it. They should, yes, she does wear the bangle in the comic books. We know. But I think if they ended with, or somewhere in between, she came in contact with that Terrigen Mist,
right?
I think I would have rated it a little bit higher.
Okay.
Just my opinion. What about you?
So that was the low point. What was the high point of the series overall?
Oh, the high point was episode 6. It was that whole action scene in that school and afterward that really did it.
Right.
I think if they did almost every episode or every other episode with something like that to kind of keep it moving,
right,
it would have been a little bit better. And I'm not knocking the writing. The writing was phenomenal.
No.
The writing's phenomenal.
The timing was the issue.
And it was the timing, and a lot of people will say, "Oh, because you don't understand the impact that it means for the Pakistani people or Middle Eastern people." No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it was great. That part, tying it to Middle Eastern societies and families and religion and all that, it was amazing. It was great how they did it. It was great how they portrayed it. I would never, as a director, be able to portray that because I've never experienced that in my life. Do I know people who have had that experience? Yes, absolutely. So have you. But I, as a director, I would have to do so much research to make sure that it was on point, which is what they did. They did do that.
Right. Or they had consultants come in, people.
Yeah, consultants come
with those
in.
experiences. And they do that a lot with military films and stuff like that. They'll bring military attachés in to consult them during the film on, okay, that action that they're doing is not realistic for this situation. This is what they need to do.
Absolutely.
They did that a lot in Saving Private Ryan.
Mm-hmm. All the war movies. All war movies.
They all bring in military consultants to help them so that they can be realistic.
Yes. And with something like this, tying it to Middle Eastern roots, you have to have that. You have to. Because you want to make sure it's as real as possible. And I've been saying this for a long time now. The main reason Marvel does so well with its storytelling is because they bring it down. Yes, these are people.
Work.
They're fictional people. We know it's fictional people, but it takes place in the real world.
Yeah. And, they put in the work and the research and the time that they need to make things as realistic as you can of a fantasy.
Right. And don't get me wrong, nothing against Batman. I get it. However, Gotham City doesn't exist in the real world. But you put Batman in New York, different story.
Right.
It would be a completely different
Oh
story.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think that would be the best thing that they could do.
Yeah.
You
So
know.
so overall, what do you give the entire series?
Now I've been struggling with this
Oh boy.
since Thursday when we watched the final episode, but I watched it again today, which is part of the reason I was running late.
And I went, oh
Um,
shit.
Throughout the entire series,
Yeah.
I've had issues with timing. Um, I had the issues with the bangle,
Yeah.
the story behind the bangle, and why
Mm-hmm.
the bangle is so prominent in all of this.
Yeah.
They finally gave me that in episode 5.
Right. They did.
Finally gave me that in episode 5. Gave me the story behind it and everything. With episodes 1 through 5,
Mm-hmm.
my overall at the highest point would probably have been a 2.5.
Wow.
Because I had a lot of issues with, both Kay and I had problems following the storyline in the first 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we found the episodes enjoyable, but it was really hard to follow the storyline and to figure out what does all this have to do with Miss Marvel,
Right.
and everything. And a lot of that goes into us not knowing the history of Ms. Marvel.
Right.
Then episode 6 comes along. An episode that I was this close to giving a 5 to. Great episode. Like I said, it brought all the storylines together, had some of the greatest fight scenes that we've seen in a long time.
Absolutely.
Answered just about every question that was out there.
Okay.
And everything. And then they threw in that fucking mid-credit scene, which made me turn around and go, oh.
God damn it.
I got to go with a 3.
Okay.
I have to go with a 3. I can't. I've tried, even with the and I keep harping on it, but the amazing conversations, the multiple amazing conversations that were had in this episode.
Yep.
The amazing fight scenes, the cool as hell delay tactics that they ran in the school to try to get Cameron out of there and everything. Even with as amazing as this episode was.
Yeah.
And even with as much as this episode helped the entire storyline, I think if they could have taken episode 6 and spread that out through at least 4 of the 6 episodes,
Okay.
I would have given the series a 4.5, 4.75.
All right.
But I just, as an overall with the way that they did it, I cannot go higher than a 3.
Okay.
I wanted to go 3.5, and I just can't do it.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I love the show. I love the premise behind it, the storyline behind it, the action behind it, even though there could have been more. Hint.
Okay.
But I can't go higher than a 3.
All right. Hey, listen.
I just can't do it.
You're not far off. You're not far off. I mean, all in all, it was a decent series.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could have done a little bit more, but otherwise, it wasn't a bad series. Is it something that I would rewatch? Probably not.
Well, and there's the thing. Kay and I have actually talked about sitting down and watching all 6 episodes again.
Oh.
Just to try to understand it a little bit more.
Okay. Understandable.
Well, I wanted to do it over the weekend, but we weren't able to do it. So
makes sense.
But we actually talked about doing that. And these are people who are, way outside the mark.
Right.
So
they're way outside there and they do what they need to do. know, they do what they need to do. It happens.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it was a good series. I enjoyed it and everything, but I can't give it that good of a rating.
yeah, and don't get me wrong, like obviously when it comes out on Blu-ray or DVD or whatever, yeah, it's gonna go in the collection because
Right.
just look behind me. I
Like I
got a
said,
lot to
it's not a
collect.
bad show. It's not a bad.
No,
It's not a bad show. There were just a couple of things that they could have done that would have given, would have made it easy for me to give it a 4 or 4.5.
yes, absolutely, and it's one of those things where you kind of have to go with the flow a bit with it, you know,
Right.
and in this case, I didn't want to say it missed the mark. I think
It was just off.
it was off just a little. It just needed a little bit more, and I think
The
with this,
arrow was just a little bit warped.
yeah, and with the mid credits scene with Carol Danvers showing up, that jumped it. It did, and obviously it's going to lead into the Marvels. So,
Right.
yay for that. They connected it, and I know they've been doing whatever they need to do.
Yeah.
So that, my friends, is this week's edition of Avenger Pretenders. We will be off until the next show/series starts, which I believe would be another Star Wars. Pretty sure. I can't remember if it's Andor or what.
Right.
I don't remember when it starts. I really don't. I don't remember when it starts.
We'll announce a couple of weeks ahead of time before we come back.
Andor is scheduled for August 31st. So we may have a couple of weeks off for that.
We can use a break.
And let me just double check on She-Hulk. Because I know She-Hulk is supposed to start too. And She-Hulk is actually scheduled to appear to premiere August 17th. So we might have another situation where we're crossing with Marvel and Star Wars again. Oh my God. It's hard to keep up.
They're doing it on purpose.
They really are.
They changed their schedule because they saw Avenger Pretenders going on. They wanted to fuck with them.
They want to see if we can keep up. They don't know we exist, but they want to see if we can keep up, and we can keep up. So,
Right.
So we'll be off for a couple of weeks for Avenger Pretenders. I may come on and do some gameplay streams. I know Trisha and I have been trying to get together with a couple of people to do some streams, so we may do that. Whether JT joins us or not, he might just join us to heckle us, because he can.
No.
He could be like, "You idiots." It'll be wonderful. But yeah, so tune in for that. We'll be off for Avenger Pretenders, but we may do some gameplay streams. And obviously, Tuesday is the Sully Show, where myself, JT, and Trisha will be here having fun as always, because we got some stuff to do. We may start late tomorrow. Or I might just cancel the show because there is a concert that my wife wants to go to, and it runs until 8:00. So haven't decided yet. I'll keep everybody posted. But if we don't do it tomorrow, maybe we can do one on Wednesday. Maybe. Really all depends on JT's availability and Trisha's availability, and we'll see what happens. So for myself and JT, thank you for tuning in to Avenger Pretenders once again. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. And we'll see you tomorrow for the Sully Show. So, with that being said, we're going to do a raid, and we will see you all next time. Bye, everybody. It's going to be fun. Oh, yes. Going to be fun. Gonna be fun. Yup.